Network Entertainment.
Hi, I'm JB.
I'm Ella,
At ito ang Kwentong Call Room.
powered by the Pod Network. Hi, Besh!
Hi, Besh!
Ba't tumatawa?
Sorry kasi, tatlo kasi tayo. Pero hindi ma-deny na meron tayong ibang
Yes.
kasama.
Wag na nating i-deny. May guest po tayo ngayong gabi. Okay, so sa ating mga listeners who are on Discord, welcome. And ayun nga, as you can see, hindi lang kami ni JB ang magkukwentuhan tonight. So, ano ba pag-uusapan natin ngayon, Besh?
So ngayon, ang pag-uusapan natin is palagi na natin sinasabi sa pod na the health is political.
Yes, timely topic din. Kasi
Oo.
anong malapit na, Besh?
Election. Oo, malapit na. Less than a month now. Exactly a month or less than a month
Hindi.
na lang.
Ano ba ngayon? Hindi, pag-record natin ito, a month from now. Pero,
Oo.
yung pagkalabas ng episode, much nearer the election na, no? Oh, pero nandiyan ka sa Boston.
Yun nga, isa kong regret hindi ako nakaregister. kasi pupunta ako sa New York dapat para mag-register ka sa overseas. Hindi ako nakapag-register kasi nung time na yun, nag-adjust pa ako dito. Oo.
Pero grabe din yung klima dyan sa States, ha? Ang daming nangyayari dyan.
Totoo. As an international student, I'm in danger. Yun nga, sinasabi natin na health is political. Pero yung isa talaga sa concrete ways for you to actually engage in manifesting na health is political is through voting. Isa siya sa mga political determinants of health is voting.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners are already in the age na pwedeng bumoto, already can participate in elections. And even if hindi pa, it's still something na, alam mo yun, kailangan pag-usapan talaga. Especially, ang belief ko talaga ay kailangan alam din natin yung mga nangyayari sa bansa natin. Kailangan aware tayo sa mga events that surrounding politics. Kasi narinig ko lagi, Besh, na parang hindi ako magko-comment kasi doctors hindi yun dapat kasama sa iniisip natin. But I beg to disagree. And we've had 2 episodes already to prove na ganun yung gusto nating iparating talaga. So, dahil gusto nating pag-usapan to, nagtawag tayo ng guest.
At hindi lang basta-basta guest. A very special guest.
Sobrang
Oo.
kinikilig ako, Besh. Kasi I've been anong tama? Child ba pag isa lang? Children. I've been a
Child.
Pag isa lang. Child ba yun? Oh, we've both been children for so long. And super helpful sa akin ever since yung mga TikTok videos, mga reels, explaining different concepts. Kasi I have several friends and a cousin who is also a lawyer. And sa kanila, ang hirap pala talagang i-absorb nung mga batas, ang hirap i-work. Parang pag di ka talaga familiar, mawawala ka talaga. So, salamat sa taong to for doing so much for educating everyone regarding the law. Okay. Ano pang natin, Besh? Intro natin sa kanya.
Ayun sa akin naman, ang connection ko sa ating guest ay yung isa kong malapit na kaibigan. Malapit na kaibigan
Wow,
ay
yes.
hindi palagi ko nakikita yung mga post niya about Attorney Chell. So, ayun, kaya siya yung naging tulay natin. Paano tayo nakapunta kay Attorney Chell? Hindi naman to random lang, di ba? Oo. So, salamat sa'yo, RJ.
Shout out po sa ating previous guest na rin on this podcast, RJ Nagits. Tonight we have with us a lawyer, father, and a really good teacher. No, I have to say, isa yun sa pinaka magandang role niya for us. So let's introduce already Attorney Shell Jokno. Hello po.
Oh, thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm excited.
Excited na din po kami.
Kinakabahan
Oh my God.
ako eh. Hindi na ako kinakabahan.
Ba't ka kinakabahan?
Hindi ko alam. Sige. Ako ba yung guest? Sige.
Attorney Shell, before po tayo pumunta sa topic, meron po kaming medyo lang siya. Ano bang tawag dito, Besh? Fast
Icebreaker.
talk. Icebreaker, ayan.
Oo.
Okay. Meron kaming parang rapid rounds yung tawag namin, but it's really fast talk quick question and answer portion lang. They can be choices or options, or they can be true or false questions,
True or
or
false?
may essay pala, ganyan. So, mabilis lang siya, and we will answer them in quick succession. Hindi naman sila, I would like to think hindi sila mahirap.
Gut feel. Kung ano yung
Gut
unang
feel,
maisip.
yes.
Oo.
Kung ano pong una niyong maisip, hindi po kailangang mag-explain or what. Later, pwede nating pag-usapan. Okay lang po ba kayo?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, sige. Ako po magtatanong.
Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go.
Attorney Shell, mahal mo o mahal ka?
mahal mo.
Ay! Ano ang inyong go-to stress reliever?
Badminton.
Oh, favorite OPM song?
Harana.
Oh, ang ganda. Bumabangon po ako para sa blank.
Para sa kabataan.
Kung hindi ako abogado, ako ay blank.
Either writer or musician.
Ay,
Hindi ko man
deserve.
sinasabing may talent ako, ah. Basta yun
Ay,
ang gusto ko.
parang gusto ko i-unpack yan later. Sige. Pili po kayo, attorney. Walang ligo o walang kain?
Walang kain.
Beach o
Nag-IF ako
bundok?
kaya sanay na akong hindi kain.
Ay,
Wow,
kain.
same
Okay.
po. Pili po kayo, beach o bundok?
Beach.
Dahil naka-IF kayo, attorney, ano ang favorite meal of the day?
Late lunch.
Late lunch. Okay. Malayo na o malayo?
Malayo na.
Oh, ganda. Very hopeful yan. Love it. True love or thriving career?
True love.
Aww. Pili po kayo, executive, legislative, o judiciary?
Legislative.
May hustisya nga ba? Yes or no?
Depende kung sino.
Next, Pilipinas in one word.
Hopeful.
Pili po kayo, attorney. Ulitin ang bar exam o ulitin ang law school?
Neither of the two. Never.
Never again.
Never. Hatest law subject kung meron.
Hatest law subject.
Or most difficult, kung hindi naman hate.
Yung hatest siguro, negotiable instruments. Dahil ang hirap niyang i-absorb.
Interesting. Comfort food po.
Anything spicy.
Hindi ako makaalis ng bahay kung walang blank.
Kung wala akong dalang tubig.
First
Hydration
time
is
ko
key.
love it. Favorite law subject naman.
Favorite law subject? Constitutional law.
Next ay best part of being a lawyer in one word.
Community.
Last na po, attorney. Mahal ko ang Pilipinas kahit blank.
Kahit hindi ko mahal yung ibang mga nakaupo sa pwesto.
Ay, ganda!
Pasabog yung tsaa.
Ganda. Thank you po, attorney, sa pagpapaunlak sa aming icebreaker. So, this is just a little something we do on the pod para mabilisang tanungan lang. Kamay, lahat po ng dumadaan, rite of passage.
Sa podcast na to.
Okay.
Ayan.
Ayan. Sige. So, pwede na tayong pumunta sa topic of choice, Besh.
Sige. Medyo straightforward na tanong na dahil alam naman natin na importante yung bumoto. Pero minsan kasi, yung mga doktor, may mga doktor akong kilala na very apathetic. Na parang, ay, wala namang, or parang hopeless na sila, or parang wala namang magagawa yung pagboto ko na isa lang. So siguro simulan natin dun sa mas broader muna. Na ano nga ba yung kinalaman ng doktor sa politika? Or meron nga ba silang kinalaman?
Maraming kinalaman ng doktor sa politika. Lalong-lalo na pagdating sa issue ng health at healthcare. Kasi lahat naman tayo, doktor ka man o hindi, affected ka niyan.
Yeah.
Of course, doctors have certain benefits that ordinary people may not have, lalo na if you're connected with hospitals or clinics. But nonetheless, healthcare, I think, is something that every citizen has to be concerned about. The cost of healthcare, access to healthcare, especially since meron na tayong universal healthcare law ngayon. Pero hindi pa rin natin nararamdaman sa ground na napapatupad yung batas. That's one. The other is that sa dami ng problema natin dito sa Pilipinas, you cannot separate your everyday life from your profession. Dadaan ka sa traffic, baka hulihin ka pa ng pulis, dadaan ka sa yung mga anak mo mag-aaral. So issues of education, issues of traffic, the rising prices of goods and food and services, lahat naman tayo apektado niyan eh, pati ang mga doktor. Kaya dapat gamitin sana natin lahat yung ating karapatan bumoto in a way that will better our communities and our lives.
Super agree ako dun sa ramdam natin siya lahat. Dapat, hindi lang as doctors. Even anyone in the Philippines really has to be involved or has to be uh, aware kung paano tayo naapektuhan ng iba. Kasi lahat ng binanggit niyo, attorney, lahat yan naapektuhan din yung mga doktor. Kahit na iniisip nila na hindi wala silang ambag sa politika kasi may isa kaming guest before who is a community doctor na ang hindi ko makakalimutang sinabi niya ay health is a means for us to achieve ano sabi niya besh yung sinabi mo to dati yung uh, kaya natin to yung
Yung health is a means for people to live their full potential or to live
yes
better lives. Kasi nga, parang
mm,
kailangan mong maging malusog para makapagtrabaho ka, para
yes
makasama yung pamilya mo. So,
mm.
so merong school of thought na health is not the goal itself, but actually a means to have a better life.
Kasi parang siguro sa aming mga doktor, attorney, isang blind spot siguro namin ay dahil health yung buong mundo namin. Feeling namin yun din yung buong mundo for everyone. Kaya ang dali para sa amin na i-discount na health lang dapat yung focus namin, hindi namin iniisip yung food security, yung education. May ganun kaming blind spot minsan dahil nga ang sector na focus namin ay health. When in fact, lahat yun correlated. Ang dami kong pasyente na yung gamot di nila mabili, hindi dahil ayaw nila or di nila pinapahalagahan yung health. They actually know that health is something important, but they have to prioritize employment kasi pag nagpakonsulta sila, di wala silang kikitain. O kaya kapag inuna nila yung pagbili ng gamot, paano yung tuition ng anak nila or yung papakain nila sa pamilya nila. Lahat yun come into play. So much so na ang laki talagang impact sa amin yung tinuturo ng mga professors namin before na paano mo pagagalingin ang isang tao kung babalik lang siya sa conditions na nag-cause or nagdulot ng sakit sa kanya. So, really, yung battle cry namin ever since talaga is health is something we should all talk about. Pero siguro a follow up to that, attorney. Kayo po kapag may mga naririnig kayong not just for doctors, pag may naririnig kayong people who express apathy or hopelessness, anong mga sinasabi nyo sa kanila in order for them to rethink their position on that?
I've seen a lot of nice comments about that. Yung isa ko nakita baka sa FB ata is kung hindi ka bumoto, if you're that apathetic, wala kang K na magreklamo.
True.
Oo nga.
Kasi hindi mo naman ginamit yung karapatan mong
True.
bumoto.
Mm,
Or
mm,
kung ang binoto mo ay yung nagustuhan mo dahil naaliw ka sa kanyang sayaw o sa kanyang kanta, wala ka pa rin kayo magreklamo pag
mm,
na yon. Tapos kung ano-anong ginagawa dahil
mm,
mo ginamit yung boto mo eh. To me, that makes a lot of sense.
Oo nga, totoo naman. Pero, kasi, I admit also na parang, kapag nakikita ko yung mga nangyayari sa bansa, ako din parang naho-hopeless ako minsan. Parang, boboto ako, pero parang, alam niyo yung, like, after the 2022 elections, parang, sobrang nalungkot ako nun, na parang for a while, kailangan ko mag-social media shutdown, na parang, hindi mo na ako titingin kasi malulungkot lang ako, or ganun. Parang, hindi ko alam. I still want to hope, but there are really times that it's so hard to hope. Paano yun?
Paano yun? Hindi kasi syempre
Parang,
naramdaman mo yung hope eh.
oh,
Parang during the before the May 9 elections noon, parang feeling mo mananalo tayo. Ito na eh. Parang boboto tayo, mag-show up tayo sa mga schools ganyan. Tapos nung lumalabas na yung results, parang saan napunta yung boto ko?
how do we deal with that, attorney?
Natural yon to feel that way, especially after the last elections, because you and so many others invested so much in supporting that campaign. Sa lahat ng mga sumuporta, ako maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Maski naman kami, it wasn't really easy to move on, as they say. But naniniwala rin ako that there's no such thing as a hopeless political situation. If you look at history, there are so many examples of situations where out of yung talagang sobrang lagim, sobrang, you know, parang wala na talaga magagawa, meron pa rin nangyari na maganda. For example, people forget that for centuries, the world accepted slavery. And yet, within one generation, because there were a few committed individuals who said, this is wrong, we have to stop this, they were able to stop the international slave trade. There's a very nice book about that, about 12 individuals in England who just got together and said, mali ito eh. Even if it's been going on for centuries, this is wrong. And so let's work together to put a stop to it. Doon nagsimula actually yung human rights movement, doon nagsimula yung mga ginagawa ngayon ng civil society na magpetition sa Congress, magprotesta. It all dates back to the abolitionist movement. So imagine that would have been a hopeless situation for us if we were living at that time na tanggap ng lahat. The whole international community accepted that you could buy and sell a human being. And yet, because a few individuals said, no, that's wrong, they changed the world, essentially. So there's really nothing, there's no hopeless political situation.
Ang ganda nun. Ang ganda na alam mo yung change is something that can happen. So much hope in that simple sentence. I hear similar sentiments in medical advancements. Lagi sinasabi, ang dami pa rin namamatay ngayon. But when you think about it, years ago, mas maraming namamatay because we didn't have these technologies, we didn't have these advancements yet. But ang ganda nung sinabi nyo na it really takes people who will say that this is wrong. And yun yung, I guess yun yung remind ko sa sarili ko. Because part of what feeds my apathy when I let it is kapag iniisip ko na ganyan talaga, na tinatanggap ko ang ngayon na tama, kahit na alam kong mali siya. So, I guess, siguro that's one way we can encourage others na I try never to shut up about what's wrong. Parang ayokong sanayin sarili ko na ang nangyayari ay tama. Ayoko siyang tanggapin ganun. And minsan, talagang, ewan ko, minsan ginagalit ko yung sarili ko para lang ma-remind ako na mali yung mga nangyayari, mali yung EJK, mali yung pagtapak sa human rights, mali yung may mga kababayan tayo na hindi man lang makakuha ng tamang proseso, na ang gulo-gulo na the justice system, it does not cater well to the ordinary Filipino. So, ayun lang. Parang, remind ko na lang sarili ko na mali po yun. Ewan ko, ikaw, Besh, paano mo ba ginagawa?
Yung sa akin na lang, di na lang ako lalayo eh. Like nung interns tayo or residents tayo, when you see people consulting a tertiary hospital in their worst state, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na health lang to purely. Kasi ang daming ibang factors na pumapasok eh, na yung iba sa kanila, walang makain na araw-araw. Yung iba sa kanila, first time makakita ng doktor ever in their lives. I mean, imagine that. Palagi may sinishare na statistics sa atin na parang, ilan nga ba yun? Pero sure ako, hindi yan, 6 out of 10. Ang hindi nakakita ng doktor. Namamatay na lang, hindi sila makakakonsulta ng doktor. Tapos feeling ko yan pa rin yung statistics na yun. Med students pa tayo noon, no, sinabi yun. Tapos parang, oo. Tapos yung isa pa sa akin, naalala ko lang nun sa kwento ni Attorney Chell is yung sinabi ni MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., feeling ko alam mo to, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So, balang araw, makikita din naman natin ng mga pagbabago nating hinahanap, pero kailangan talaga na push lang at laban lang.
Naniniwala ba kayo doon, attorney? Doon sa the moral justice is long, but it bends towards justice?
Yes and no. I feel the good in that statement, but I've been a lawyer for 36 years, and I can say that not all justice systems bend towards justice. Our justice system definitely does not bend toward justice. It's not designed that way. It has systemic flaws that make it easy for the powerful to get away without accountability, while ordinary people get stuck in the system and either have to spend years, even if they're innocent, years in jail, or get convicted even kahit na walang kinalaman sila doon sa pangyayari. it's a very anti-poor kind of system, and that's one of that's where actually my, I guess you could call it, political awakening came up, because I felt so strongly about how we don't have what we all are hoping for.
Hey, whether it's a struggle you can't seem to get through or a dream that seems too daunting for you, this is Mirza Season telling you that you can do this. Let's figure it out or find someone who can. I'm a confidence coach and host, an ex-editor, ex-model, ex-20-something, ex-30-something, exactly who you need to help you navigate through life's ins and outs. What are you waiting for? Let's go! You can do this.
What are the things we want? It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. Doesn't matter what your sector is. Palagay ko, naniniwala naman tayong lahat na gusto natin may pananagutan dito sa atin. May lumabag sa batas, dapat maparusahan siya, di ba?
Yes.
Gusto natin na may mabigyan ng, ma-empower natin ang ordinaryong Pilipino. That the ordinary Filipino doesn't have to feel like they're always at the receiving end of abuse and oppression. Ang gusto natin ay pantay-pantay na lipunan, di ba? But all of that is impossible if you don't have a good working justice system. You can't have accountability. Lusot-lusot palagi yung corrupt, yung human rights violator. You can't empower ordinary people if they're the victims of abuse and they cannot get justice from the court. Where else can they go? Yun lang naman ang mapupuntahan nila. And if they don't get justice, they're not empowered. They become more and more powerless. And we can't have an equal society if discrimination abounds, and you have no remedy in law or in the courts of justice to get redress. Ako, matagal ko na sinasabi to eh. Yan yung elephant in the room na hindi pinag-uusapan ng mga nasa pwesto. Hindi rin yan bahagi ng any kind of national conversation na sobrang weak ang justice system natin. Kaya reklamo tayo ng reklamo, di ba? Bakit yan, ang corrupt na corrupt yan? Bakit di nakukulong yan? Bakit ito, ang dami ng ginawang anomalya, ang dami ng inabuso, bakit napagala-gala pa yan? Samantalang, someone like Laila de Lima, who never had anything criminal in her life, who never did anything criminal in her life, ends up spending 7 years in jail for crimes that it turns out had no basis at all, that she should never even have been put in jail in the first place. Ganon kasagwa yung justice system natin. Kaya if you ask me, does the Philippine justice system bend towards justice the way it's running today? It doesn't.
We had a former president na mamamatay tao. Parang, I mean, how does that work? Parang ang hirap kasing i-reconcile kapag ang turo sa'yo malito, ang turo sa'yo may hustisya. I mean, we were the generation brought up by the Hunger Games. Sorry, ang babaw. The Hunger Games. So, pero parang ang hirap palang ipaglaban ng hustisya kapag the system works against you. Marami kaming mga pasyente na darating, nakaposas. Alam mo yun, Besh, I'm sure nagkagayon ka pasyente na parang darating sila, may kasama silang pulis kasi naakusahan sila ng ganitong krimen, ganyan. Tapos, sabi ko nga, my cousin who's also a lawyer, sobra na-frustrate siya kapag hindi niya mapaglaban yung mga kliyente niya. May mga kliyente siya dati who were really, alam mo yung may laban sila pero hindi niya mapaglaban kasi the system works against them. And hindi rin kasi mura ang pumasok sa justice system. Ang dami pa niyang steps, ang dami niyang babayaran, ang dami niyang ifa-file, tas lahat yun, hindi mahirap i-wrap your head around. So, tama ka, attorney. As much as the health system, I will have to say that even the health system, anti-poor din siya.
Yun yung masakit,
Sorry.
no?
Di ba? Totoo eh.
Di ba dapat ang mga doktor ang lawyers of the poor? Pero ang hirap niya, di ba?
At saka ano siya, these are all rights that are incumbent upon any citizen. Pero ang hirap, commodified yung health, commodified halos lahat. So nakakalungkot na talo ang mahihirap sa estado. So, attorney, anong gagawin? Paano po yun?
Kung tutusin, from where I stand, I should feel more hopeless than many of
Mm-mm.
those people you know. Because I've seen it up close. Nakita ko yung inhustisya ng sistema ng hustisya natin. 36 years ako human rights lawyer, so I've seen it. When I entered the political arena, nakita ko rin yung mga problema outside the legal system, yung issues natin sa health, yung issues natin sa education, yung issues natin sa environment. Napakarami niyan. But one thing that I gives me hope is the fact that we are a young nation. We're young and our population is young. And while jaded na kami, yung mga thunders, marami sa henerasyon ko, mga jaded na yan. Baka sa henerasyon din ninyo, meron din na rin mga jaded. But I, 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 I have been with so many young people in the last 5 to 6 years that they, I see that they can do much better than we have ever done for this country. And yun din yung nakikita kong role sa sarili ko na to connect with our youth as much as possible and to help them understand what kind of society we're living in and what we need to do and why it's so important na baguhin natin yung nangyayari sa atin.
Naalala ko lang merong isang conversation dito parang about yun nga yung ano yung advantage or hindi ano yung advantage ng present generation over the current generation at tapos parang yung sabi lang ay youthfulness. So parang yung
Enerhiya.
hindi, tapos yung isa pang dinugtungan nila na parang, okay, mamatay din yung mga nakaupo ngayon, tapos makapalitan din sila. Parang yung very extreme na sagot nung isa dito. Pero may point naman siya na younger generation nga ang papalit sa nakaupo ngayon.
Ayun, tanong ko din yun, attorney. May magagawa pa ba tayo given na yung ang daming sa nakaupo ngayon, they use power to their own benefit. And kaya rin, I guess, nagkakaroon ng hopeless feeling ang marami ay kahit bumoto sila, alam nila na yung may hawak ng narrative pa din ay itong mga taong nasa kapangyarihan. Paano natin i-hand or how do we fight through that?
Yeah, that's a very, very tough question. For me, we take it one step at a time. For every election, I see that as an opportunity to get more progressive people into Congress and the Senate, and also into the executive department. We are, as I said earlier, talagang young nation tayo. Sabi nga ng recent balita, ang mga boboto sa Mayo ay 63% ay kabataan, meaning millennials and Gen Z. That's a big number, 63%. So literal na bumabata rin yung voting population natin. And hopefully that will also change the choices that we make in terms of our leaders. Ayun, yung isa lang challenge natin and I know this because I've really done some research on the problems we're facing. 25% ng kabataan natin ay out of school youth. That amounts to roughly 12 million young Filipinos. 12 million Filipinos who have no future. Because what kind of a future can you have if you never studied? If you cannot read or write, or if all you know are basic literacy skills, anong kakaharapin mong kinabukasan? Wala. That's another reason why I feel it's so urgent that these things be brought up, not just during elections, but all the time. Na government, given the trillions it has in budget, has the power and the capacity to address these problems. The sad thing is that hindi nila pinaprioritize ito. Have you even heard of that statistic? When I speak about this, many people in the crowd come to me after. Ngayon ko lang po alam na ganun pala karaming kabataan ay walang kinabukasan. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito pinag-uusapan. It doesn't come out in any kind of national conversation. When it should.
Yes.
How can we, katanggap-tanggap ba yon na okay lang sa atin na every year that madadagdagan yan, 12 million na yan. Look at the social and economic cost of that one statistic. If they cannot go to school, ano kaya ang gagawin ng 12 million na yan para lang mag-survive? Kapit sa patalim yan. They'll do anything. Hihingi ng ayuda yan. Kung botohan time, mag-expect ng ibebenta nila yung boto nila. Kung some will probably end up in the world of crime. Some will end up in maybe online prostitution or other, the underbelly of our society. Diyan pupunta yan. Pero parang hindi siya problema, parang baliwala sa kanila yon. That cannot be. To me, it's such a big problem. We should be talking about it. And if I'm the first to talk about it, that's fine with me because hopefully others will listen and start talking about it as well.
Thank you for that, attorney. Ako din, ngayon ko lang narinig yung statistic na yun.
Grabe
I'm
yung
sure,
25%,
oo,
no?
parang,
1 out of
ang
4?
dami nun. Isipin mo, ang daming bata, 25%, so, 1 in 4.
Kasasabi ko lang. Oo nga.
Sorry.
The first time na nakita ko yon, I had to read it again and I had to verify it. Sabi ko, tama ba
2.5.
eh? Sabi ko, ang dami naman yan. And when I confirmed it, sabi ko, wow, this is a huge problem that nobody is talking about.
Yung isa pa dyan, yung mga nag-aaral ngayon, yung score natin sa mga international exams, hindi rin ganun kaganda. So,
Exactly. So either way, hindi ka makapag-aral o kahit nakapag-aral ka, unless makaabot ka sa bigger schools, no? Chances are you won't get a good education either. For me, aside from the rising prices of food and rice, ang interconnected yung problema na yun eh. Education or lack of education, kasama dyan yung health in terms of the nutrition that our kids are getting from the time they're born. Yun. So those are all connected with each other and the rising prices of food and rice. Kaya maybe doctors don't realize it, but if we want, some doctors, but if we want to have a better quality of life in our country, we have to have better quality of leaders.
Yes, definitely po. And it all adds to the vulnerability of the poorest of the poor. I'm taking all of these away. It just adds to how disenfranchised they are against a system that's already pitted against them. It's so wrong that this is happening to a lot of our and wala silang kasalanan. What choice do we leave them kapag ganito yung sistema natin? Nakakagalit talaga siya, hindi talaga siya tama. Ay, sorry, add ko lang na quick kwento na sorry, na-activate ako eh. Parang naalala ko lang nung I was studying for the boards noon, tapos nagsimba ako sa St. Jude. Tapos I remember na naiyak ako nung binentahan ako ng sampagitan ng isang 9-year-old boy na naka-school uniform pa siya. May pasok noon. Tapos parang hindi na lang daw siya pumasok. Tinanong ko ba't wala siyang pasok ngayon, hindi na lang daw siya pumasok, ganyan. Tapos naiyak ako kasi isipin mo, ako may privilege akong makapag-board exam for medicine, not even college, for medicine. May ganun akong privilege. And it dawned on me that this little boy may not even make it to the next school year, to the next quarter ng school niya. And how many of these little boys ang buong buhay nila magbebenta ng sampagitas sa labas ng St. Jude dahil wala silang enough opportunity to find a better future for themselves. Ang hirap tanggapin na reality to. Sabi ko nga, parang minasabi ko, sana fiction na lang tong lahat ng nangyayari na, yung news natin, sana fiction na lang siya. Pero hindi, and ang pangit pa nga, another conversation altogether ay natutwist pa yung impormasyon, yung katotohanan, yung realidad, ang dami pang ganong issue na, ay, parang, hindi ko, sorry po, nagalit na-carry away na po ako. Ayan, pero, sige po, on a more hopeful note po, attorney, given that we now one of the ways that we can exercise is to vote. How do we vote and how do we pick our leaders? How do we teach everyone to ascertain or to discern who to vote for?
Well, definitely every candidate is going to promise us the moon. Wala
Mm.
naman kakandidato na hindi magsasabi na ito ang gagawin
Mm.
ko pag nanalo ako. At wala naman kandidato na magsasabi na kahit na totoo, pag nanalo ako, mangungurakot ako. They'll never say that to us, right? So kailangan titingnan natin, we go beyond the words they utter during a campaign. Tingnan natin yung track record nila. Ano na yung dati nilang nagawa? Whether they were already public servants before or kahit nasa private sector sila, anong ginawa nila para sa komunidad at sa bansa? Doon mo talaga makikita. For example, mayroong senador na gusto natin iboto dahil for whatever reason, magaling magsalita, okay ang dating, pogi pa. Pero tingnan muna natin yung track record. Kung dati na siyang senador, what bills, anong nasa batas niya? What did he or she not vote for? For example, malaking bagay sa akin ang freedom of expression. Ito bang kumakandidato ngayon ay bumoto pabor sa pagtanggal ng franchise ng ABS-CBN? Para sa akin, malaking bagay yung hustisya. Ito bang kandidatong ito na dating nasa House of Representatives ay pumabor doon nung sinaslat shame si Sen Laila at nung kinulong siya? Nagsalita ba siya na dapat hindi nangyari yon? Anong naging stand nila sa war on drugs nung time na yon? Pumalakpak ba sila nung nagsasalita yung dating Pangulo na wala na dito ngayon sa Pilipinas? I mean, those are things that I would look for. Kasi kung sasalita lang nila sa mga ads, ganyan, it's all the same.
Totoo naman. Kasi wala namang kandidato syempre na parang magsasabi na, ay, hindi ko gusto yan. Ay, hindi ko mabibigay yan. Wala namang ganun. Lahat ngayon, ligawan stage, di ba? Lahat ng kaya mong ipangako, ipapangako mo. Pero, yung experience, yung mga dati mong nagawa, hindi na yun mababago. So, yun yung pinakamagandang kilatisin, no? Ng mga boboto.
Medyo mahirap din talaga kasi ang daming popular politics kasi ang maraming bagay. So, a lot of it is name recall, a lot of it is
Budots.
oh, maraming ganon na ang hirap I have a breakthrough, but I hope with these conversations and sana sa pakikipag-usap natin sa mga kababayan natin, sa mga kasama natin, even the circles we're already in, I hope it creates a ripple such that these conversations find a bigger audience. And I hope itong podcast episode na to ay makatulong sa listeners, young doctors, sa mga med students, even those who have yet to vote. I hope this conversation, because I definitely started, I guess, understanding a bit nung estudyante ako, nung nag-aaral ako, na nakikita ko yung totoong kalagayan beyond the classroom. And I hope sana kahit papaano makakontribute itong episode. So, thank you po,
Thank
Attorney
you po,
Chel. At
Attorney Chel.
oo, na you were here. I believe a lot of our listeners are also children. And a lot of them are excited to hear what you have to say about this topic. So, salamat po. And I guess we'll give you this chance na to, ano ba,
Ano
to,
pang mensahe ninyo sa ating mga
yes, opo.
listeners para sa
Mm-mm,
darating na eleksyon?
opo.
Well, unang-una, maraming salamat sa paanyaya na maging bahagi ng inyong programa. Sa lahat ng mga nanonood at nakikinig, sana maging mapanuri tayo sa darating na halalan. Sa totoo, yung boto nyo ang inyong boses. At walang ibang napakahalaga pagdating sa politika at sa buhay natin bilang mga mamamayan kung hindi yung eleksyon. Kasi kung sino man yung maging leader natin, apektado tayong lahat. Either in a good way na magiging mas masaya yung buhay natin or in a bad way na mas magiging mareklamo tayo at galit sa mundo. So let's choose leaders who really care for us and who really love our country. Yung makikipaglaban para sa atin lahat. At ipaglalaban kung ano yung tama. Thank you.
Oh, salamat po. Naiyak ako. Oh, thank you. I really like talking to people who instill hope and to make me believe that there's a better future for this country. Because sometimes, ang hirap maniwala. But thank you po for being here and inspiring us to still believe that there's a better future for the Philippines. Salamat po. Thank you po.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you po. Wala, wait, na speechless na ako.
Kaya mo yan.
Oo. Meron po ba kayong gustong batiin or mga wala naman. Sige po. Maraming salamat po again for being on our podcast po, and thank you po sa lahat ng nakinig at nakijoin sa atin sa Discord at sa mga makikinig sa episode na to once it airs po. So, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you want to see more episodes, please follow Kwentong Callroom Podcast on Spotify. We drop new episodes every Wednesday 5 p.m. Pwede pa rin balikan ang past episodes here on Spotify. Feel free to comment on our episodes and episode polls.
You can also follow us on social media for more chika and updates. We're Kwentong Callroom Podcast on Facebook, at Callroom Podcast on X, Instagram, and Threads.
You can also join our Discord community tulad ng mga nakikinig ngayon, our official community server kung saan pwede makichika with us at iba pang mga ka-callroom.
So each week, meron din tayong episode question that we post on IGX and Discord. Makisagot sa question of the week every Friday 12 p.m. to keep the conversation going.
At sa mga gusto mag-submit ng questions, concerns, at chief complaints, open pa rin ang kwento mo sa Callroom, a Google form where you can submit your questions to us. Kung mapili ang kwento mo, pwede namin yan sagutin in one of our future episodes.
And if you want to reach us via email, you can reach us at kwentongcallroom@gmail.com.
Thank you po again, Attorney Jess. So, sa darating po na eleksyon,
51.
Oo, yes. So, nasa likod. Tama, di ba, Attorney? Nasa likod yun ang balota.
Lahat ng party list ay nasa likod.
Yes, oo. Learning ko yan nung 2022 election kasi, ay, oh my God, may likod pa pala. Ayan, so, yan. So, talaga, ang party list po ay nasa likod ng balota. Huwag kalimutan, number 51 po. Sige, so, with that, I'm Ella.
And I'm JB, and this has been Kwentong Callroom.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.